there's always a side character who is funny, pretty, and friendly. But there are also the characters who provide comedic relief. So many times these characters are removed from the story, either they die or just get completely forgotten. In My Happy Marriage, that type of a character was Godou for almost everyone. And after seeing episode 3, you might think, will he face the same fate? Well, you gotta have to watch the video to find that out. Alright, so my friend and I were talking about the direction the story is taking, and few thoughts come to my mind. You know how sometimes an anime starts hinting at big emotional moments but might not give us all the answers right away? Well, that's exactly what's happening right now. Because the question of Miyo's parentage, especially regarding Naoshi Yusu's claim to be her father, has been raised. Could it be true? Could we be looking at a major twist where Naoshi is really Miyo's father? Well, I'll talk about that in a bit, but let's take a quick look at some things I've been thinking about in the anime pacing and Miyo's character development. So far, we've been flying through the plot pretty quickly, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but there are moments that I think are getting a bit rushed. And I really wish that we could have seen some more scenes of Miyo and Kiyoka together, like the one where Kiyoka has a heart-to-heart conversation with his father and realizes his love for Miyo, or the morning interaction between Kiyoka and Miyo after their first kiss, where he confronts her. I feel like those were little moments in the story that could have used more screen time. Still, I'm not here to complain. I get why they're keeping up the fast pace, and I'm really enjoying the show so far. Also, they're probably going 3 episodes per volume, so today I will basically be spoiling those for you. Okay, so let's talk about some of the fan favorites. If you've watched this anime for any length of time, you've definitely encountered Yoshito Godou, the light-hearted, teasing character who always seems to keep up the mood, even in the darkest of time. But here's the thing, we saw him falling into a trap in the last episode, and you might think that he'd end up being gone forever, but he's not going to meet the same fate as many side characters. Spoilers alert, thankfully he's not dead, even though he gets caught up in the blast that leaves him with severe burns, but he survives. And later in the story, he will get flowers and dessert from Kiyoka. And of course, he laughs and teases Kiyoka about it, who obviously wasn't too happy about the teasing, so he left the room, surprising Miyo. But the reason he left was because he felt a deep sense of guilt over Godou's father's death, and this attack reminded him of it. So as Godou said, back when Kiyoka was starting out, Godou's father, who was the commander at that time, had hoped that he would join the army. But Kiyoka resisted, and that decision ultimately led to his father's death, in one way or another, because he died in one of the battles that they could have won if Kiyoka had been there. This backstory is also the reason why Kiyoka eventually joined the military, while initially he wasn't going to end up as a soldier. By the end, Godou says that if Miyo ever asks Kiyoka about his past, he will definitely tell her everything, because she's one of the people he trusts completely. Speaking of trust, let's talk about Karuko, the new character that is going to be introduced. She will be a soldier who will become Miyo's bodyguard, and she's going to be playing an important role in these next episodes. I won't spoil this little plot because I think they might show it in a better way in the anime. But I will say that she's not a very bad person, even though she's one of Kyoka's marriage candidates, and she also gets pretty jealous of Miyo sometimes, and she's still in love with Kyoka, considering she never denies this fact when Godou asks her, but still, Miyo forgives her by the end. And though I would say that she definitely adds some sour taste to the story, she's not the villain here. I forgot to mention how much I love Godou's character. Even though he always jokes about taking Miyo away from Kiyoka, he might actually be their biggest supporter because he even asked Karuko to not get in between Miyo and Kiyoka. Alright, now to the part that I disliked the most in this volume. It's the audacity of some military men. I have to admit that when I first read the novel, I didn't expected the military men to be so masculine in a not so great way. Like they've got some serious outdated attitude, especially toward women. This definitely caught me by surprise when I first read it because in the movie, I remember them being so wholesome. And I think it was fine because Miyo wasn't really a part of their team and she was Inosuba, but I hated how they grumbled and threw their misogynistic remarks at Karuko when she literally won at sparring challenge. But they don't just stop there. In days that follows, Miyo and Karuko continues their cleaning mission, tackling various neglected parts of the station. While most soldiers remain indifferent, some grows incredibly vocal about their disapproval. And one day, Mio overhears three soldiers making stupid comments about Karuko, mocking her abilities as a soldier and her presence at the station. Unable to stay silent, Mio steps forward and confronts them, her voice calm but firm. I'm sure that would be the first time she stood up like that, and I'm so forward to seeing that. She reminds them that the unit values skills above all else, and that anyone capable, regardless of gender, has the place there. The soldiers claim that a woman can never matches a man in a combat, and Mio encounters them with a challenge. If they think Kaoruko doesn't belong, they should prove it by defeating her in a fight. The atmosphere grows tense and the soldiers probably burn with anger, while Mio waits for them to hit her, but just as things were threatened to escalate, Kaoruko arrives and steps between them, warning the men against harming Mio. The soldiers obviously backed off, but their glares stayed. Not going to lie, I always loved Mio's character because she tries to deal with things herself. We have seen how she dealt with Kyoka's mother and her parents, and now how she asked Kyoka to not interfere and let her deal with those soldiers herself. Later, Mio shares a quiet moment with Kaoruko, handing her the lunchbox filled with her homemade food. With a gentle smile, she encourages Kaoruko to stop hiding her feelings behind a mask of cheerfulness. Moved by Mio's kindness and understanding, Kaoruko tears up, expressing gratitude for Mio's support. Honestly, they were such good friends, and I would have loved to seen them grow if it wasn't for the plot. Anyways, let's go back to the other side of things. One night, Mio has a strange dream, one that's not her own. It's a memory from her mother's past, from when Sumi Usuba was a teenager. In the dream, Sumi scolds a young Naoshi for getting into a fight again. This time, he hospitalized his opponent. Naoshi, however, brushed it off, claiming that it was just self-defense, because the other guy has started it. As Mio watches the scene unfold, there's a sense of deep love between Sumi and Naoshi. It's like a window into a different time, a time when Naoshi wasn't the man we might know now. This really increases the possibility of him being Mio's father, and not to mention the father we saw of her has always treated her badly. But here's the spoiler. Despite his claim, he's not actually her father. And while this truth isn't revealed in the next few episodes, it gets pretty clear that Naoshi planned to use Mio's power for his own purposes. He even tried to get her away from Kyoka, hoping to get her in his team somehow. And the way he does that is honestly so stressful. Like he literally gets Kyoka away from Mio as they gets a report from the prince who had seen the emperor's kidnapping through his divine revelation. And at the same time, he gets a message from Arata telling him that he is already pursuing the emperor and will locate him soon. But the people of the military didn't really trusted Arata and suspected that he might be working with Naoshi himself. So after giving it a thought, Kyoka agrees to go there, and after briefly embracing Mio, he leaves. And right after then, Naoshi spawns there. But our Mio is getting pretty strong, so she stands her guard. She was not going to let him manipulate her, and thankfully Kyoka is ordered to return, and he gets there on time before Naoshi takes her away. But there isn't any special fight that takes place, as Naoshi just disappears again. Lastly, let's talk about the heartwarming moments between Kyoka and Mio. If you're a fan of their relationship, you might like to know that they'll get their second kiss. Though there are some awkward and silent argument scenes between them, but there are also some sweet ones. Like when Mio asked Kyoka if she should stop making his lunches since supposedly the cafeteria food at his office was really good. And of course, Kyoka, being the green forest, stops in his tracks and clarifies that he eats her lunches because he likes them far more than anything the cafeteria could offer. And I don't know why I found this scene such married couple coded. And I'm not sure how the anime will handle the wedding from volume 7, if they will even add it or not, but I really do hope they squeeze it in somehow. I mean, they are already covering 3 light novels. And honestly, if they do that, I will forgive them for any scene they might have skipped or shortened. But we will see, because there is still a lot of action coming in volume 6. And I know it's going to be epic. I think that's all. So I hope you like this video. Thank you for listening to me. Take care of yourself and goodbye.
If you're sticking by my side, maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change.